Hello, and welcome back to the Double Espresso Show. My name is Rasmus Søymrich. I'm the CEO and founder of SBC, and I am your host of the show. The show had a short break over the summer period as we have been very busy at planning the comeback of physical events at SBC. But now we're back, and it's a true pleasure for me to bring you episode number 6, which brings you a great discussion about the US betting and gaming industry with Nuvei's Chief Corporate Development Officer, Neil Erlick. Neil will be telling us about Nuvei and the company's growth in the US and North American betting and gaming industry, as well as share some views on regulation and player protection. Neil Erlick, Chief Corporate Development Officer of Nuvei, welcome to the Double Espresso Show.
Hey Raz, thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here.
I'm very happy you could join me today as well. And I would say let's just jump right into it because we have quite a few questions and I'm very keen to learn more about all the exciting things around Nuvei these days. First of all, if you could, tell me a bit more about the buzz around Nuvei in the US iGaming space. It certainly seems like very exciting times for you guys. What are the key drivers for your success in the US market?
Sure. Well, you're right. It's certainly an exciting time for Nuvei in general, in and outside of gaming. But as it relates to iGaming in the US, for those that know the Nuvei story, I think know that we've been a very major player for payments in the regulated iGaming space around the world, really for close to 2 decades. And so obviously a lot of buzz in the US with, sports betting becoming legal, more and more states opening up for iGaming and for sports. So we took a bit of a different approach than some of our peers. And you've heard us talk a lot about the crawl, walk, run approach that we've done. And, probably spent about a year and a half ensuring that we had best-in-class integrations into every relevant alternative payment method in the US, number one. Okay. Wow. Number 2, establishing our own bank and BIN sponsorships, whereby we become the acquirer essentially for all of the large operators in the U.S. so that they can cut out a middleman. No more gateway fees, no more kind of going through someone in the middle to connect when we see that more and more they want to go direct. And then obviously, the way we've positioned it when we talk about that crawl, walk, run is making sure that there's an issue on the money in, but how do we solve problems on the money out as well? So things like, Visa OCT and MasterCard Send. So enabling that through a single integration, the operators in the US can connect to Nuvei for all of their payment needs, whether that's for deposits, withdrawals, all done in an instant fashion, and obviously all done in a safe and secure environment. Okay,
very interesting. I mean, you mentioned, as with the US, we obviously know Canada is looking very interesting now as well. So, and I know you guys, you're Canadian company, so it must be very exciting also thinking about the opportunities around the Canadian market. But let's go back to that later because I would love to also talk a little bit about Misuma because, I really love the guys at Misuma. They've always been very good friends, very good supporter of what we do and likewise of what they do. And obviously Nuvei the same. So it kind of feels like a match made in heaven when you guys decided to acquire Misuma. So I just wonder what you can tell me more about that acquisition and how it's sort of going based on the two companies now working as one.
Sure. Well. First of all, like you,
you are separate them. So, but yeah, working under.
No, look, we finalized the acquisition. So it's certainly Misuma's now part of the Nuvei family. I think like you, we love the team, but really we love what they developed. We love the UI, UX. We love the interface. We love the fact that, through an exclusive arrangement with Plaid and connectivity to over 11,000 banks in the U.S., that a customer can now, just as easily as going to use their credit card, enter in their username and password for their online banking system that they're used to, that they use every day, and make a deposit instantly. And so when you think about the ease, what people generally go back to from a credit card perspective, there's still an issue, in the U.S. with acceptance rates for credit and debit cards. So giving the alternative, giving another option for the customers to make a deposit instantly, for us, We just love the product. We think it's really easy to use. We think it's much easier than the traditional ACH, where you have to find your routing number and your checking account number, which a lot of people today, they don't have a checkbook, they don't know where to look for it. So this gives this seamless way for a customer to use their bank account to make a payment on the money in. And then what's also exciting is on the money out. So Misuma, the first group in the US to launch RTP, which is real-time payments, which are instant withdrawals to your bank account. So if you think historically a customer needing to wait, a few days before the money hits their bank account, we have now been the first group in the US to launch instant payouts, where we can actually send money directly back to your bank account in real time.
Okay, wow. No, thanks for sharing. I would also, ask you about Simplex, because you've been acquiring more companies. Recently you acquired Simplex, and I know that's a very strong payment solution provider to the cryptocurrency industry. So I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about how you guys are embracing the crypto side of the industry, or the potential.
Sure.
The potential, I would say.
Yeah, look, I think, from the Simplex standpoint, there's a number of things we love about the asset and the acquisition. So you're right in that they provide, payments for, the crypto liquidity providers around the world. But there's a number of things that they do, from the AI fraud tools that they've developed in-house that we feel are absolutely incredible and game-changing, not only in the crypto industry, but the ability to use that across all of the verticals that we work in. And so if you think about Nuvei, no vertical in our business makes up more than approximately 20% of our business. So the ability to use these AI fraud tools across our entire portfolio becomes really interesting, where they're now using this technology to indemnify the clients. They guarantee that the funds are good for people that, in this case, are accepting or making deposits for cryptocurrencies. They also give us, IBAN capabilities. So essentially opening up, bank accounts for customers, and also issuing capabilities. So a lot of people look at it just as a kind of crypto play, because that's how they're most well known. But certainly for us, it's more about the technology that they bring in all forms. As it relates to crypto and gaming, everything that we do obviously follows, regulations. So there's different regulations in every country. There's different regulations in the different states and, by jurisdiction. So what we've done, Raz, is we want to make sure that we are prepared in the event that our clients today, if they want to be able to, and they can do so legally, accept cryptocurrency and or pay out in cryptocurrency from their customers, we'll enable them to do that.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think what you're mentioning about the fraud and the KYC and all these specific areas kind of leads me a little bit into the next part I want to discuss with you, because I think that's very important, talking about, regulations as well as player protection, and see, how you see the payment industry and even more Nuvei playing a big part in this, because that's obviously a growing part of the US market. As a new market, it's going to start maturing more. You got to see more focus on this. So I would love to talk to you a little bit about this now. So if you can tell me a bit more about actually regulations and player protection. And if I say the key differences between the US and the European market when it comes to regulation, what can you tell us about this? And do you see any lessons sort of learned from the European market, considering where we are with markets like UK, Italy, Spain? There's a lot of regulations happening. Have happened and are still happening. So.
Absolutely. Look, I'll say a few things. The first is that responsible gaming for us is obviously top of mind and always will be. So we take it very seriously. And while it's ultimately up to each individual operator to make sure that they are abiding by all the rules in all the jurisdictions in which they're licensed, we feel that we have some tools that can certainly help them. So as part of our own ESG initiatives, we talk about responsible gambling. We've partnered with the American Gaming Association in their plan of, have a game plan, bet responsibly. So for us, doing our part by partnering with the AGA, by having tools through our technology that can give the operators the ability for customers to set certain deposit limits, to, put some self-exclusion tools in place, to giving them that ability on from our own technology standpoint. I think that for us, we take it very seriously. And so anywhere we can, you talk about lessons learned in Europe. Certainly, we've been doing this a very long time. So we're able to spot trends. We're able to see things. We're able to take the experience that we have for close to 2 decades and apply that, in the U.S. And you talked about Canada, but obviously in all parts of the world.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's been a key topic over here, talking about player protection, responsible entertainment, and figuring out how you embrace the fact the market, the consumers, everything is changing, right? And you need to grow with this. You need to accept that and embrace it, which obviously comes down to more, as I know you say, the operator, but obviously the operator is working with a number of different products and companies and software tools and payment options. So they need to factor that all in and come up with a solution that is actually going to meet those requirements that governments are going to shove down their throat, more or less, because they would force them to do this, or they will lose their license or get penalized massively, right? So obviously we don't see a lot of this in the US market at the moment because it's new, states are regulating it, step by step. But as you're saying, I absolutely agree. I mean, there's a good time now to start figuring out how you early on embrace this, have the strategies, the right partnerships with the likes of Nuvei in place to be able to create a long-term and very sustainable strategy around it, because it will come back, and bite you in the ass if you're not thinking about it now. That's for sure. So
I agree.
I would actually say in regards to that, where I will obviously want to see you in person and have a few drinks, but at the SBC Summit North America in 1st and 2nd December, the day before, we actually have a player protection symposium in Manhattan, where we have about a couple of hundred people pre-event, which should be quite exciting. I can't reveal speakers and all this yet, but it's in partnership with Epic. Because we are addressing this as well. We see it as part of us as well to address it as event organizers and just facilitate the discussion. Anyway, enough about this. You shared some really good input, and talking a little bit about events and your sort of way of going to see clients and talk at shows and engage a bit in the industry again with COVID sort of allowing us to go back sort of step by step to the events. I mean, is there any particular events you are participating in this year?
Yeah, well, look, I think people are excited to get back to events in person. I think people have been.
They better have to. They better have to, man. Yeah. They better have to, man.
Look, it's not easy for everyone to get around. We get that, but I think certainly people are excited to be back in front of their partners, be back in front of their clients. Establish those relationships that have been virtual for many for close to 2 years. Obviously, the SBC event in Barcelona. The event you're talking about, I believe in New York and New Jersey, will certainly be there and have a big presence and I believe a sponsorship. And then I think, there's a big event at G2E, obviously one of the biggest events of the year in Las Vegas coming up. It'll be the first time that Nuvei and Misuma are kind of presenting, as one. So we're certainly excited to showcase, the new products that we have and really just being one family for the first time at an event is certainly exciting. So definitely,
it's probably a lot of new faces that you guys haven't met, because they've started in around the last year and a half. You're like,
and just to your point people, earlier, the industry is growing so much. There's everyone's just expanding as the states open up. That certainly there are certainly a lot of new faces. Yeah.
I mean, we kind of sort of almost spent the time here, So I think we do have the option here to just take a little bit more detail around Nuvei and your products. So let me just give you one more question here, if okay with you. Sure. While I have you, I'm not going to let you go. Let's say fast, instant payouts of winnings. I mean, for the consumer, how important is this for, say, operators to retain clients, not losing them to others that offer similar or better service? What can you share just on this topic?
Well, I look at it this way. If you're a customer and you can go to operator A and get your funds immediately sent to your bank account or right away from things like Visa, OCT, or MasterCard send, that's at one operator. Or I can go to the next operator and it takes 4 days for me to get my my withdrawal. If you're the customer, where are you going? Right, you're going to the first
Absolutely.
operator that has the latest technology, and that's something that we take pride in, it kind of being the first ones to do it. Being able to offer it, back to the Visa debit cards, being able to send it right back to your bank account in real time. Or if they're using a different form of payment and they want it sent to their PayPal account, we can do that too. And I think the beauty, again, is all through that single integration, single back office, single points of reconciliation, so that you can manage, from an operator perspective, all of the money that comes in, all of the money that's going out, all through a single portal. I think people underestimate sometimes the power that comes with that and what we can bring. So being the first to market with RTP, certainly very proud of. Visa and MasterCard, payouts instantly. For us, we certainly think that it's a great solution for the operators, and more importantly, probably for the customers.
And as I said, I keep saying that. I spoke to Phil, was that about a couple of months ago. I keep saying, how amazed I am of what you guys are doing, the acquisitions you're making, and it seems like an amazing culture. I don't talk to anyone at Nuvei, even Misuma, before, and now connected in with you guys. It's like everyone enjoys working there. They see them part of delivering on the RTP and all the projects you guys have, like really being a dominant force in the industry, which you are, but further expanding and just being that leading company in the industry. I mean, it's very exciting. And, I will ask you one last thing. Just, so there's a lot of sort of disconnect, because we focus a lot on the US today. So let's focus a little bit more on the US just to round this off. There's a little bit like a lot of Europeans want to come to the US, and there's obviously a lot of US companies that already exist, like Penn and MGM, and even partnerships between MGM and Entain and all that, right? So what do you see? What is important for the European operators coming over? I mean, we talk about payment here. So from say a payment sort of perspective and partnering up, understanding that the US players versus the European players, is there anything specific you want to say that they need to prioritize in terms of us talking about this payment, player protection, these things? Is there something you can add?
Well, specifically for the European operators, I think the advantage they have is they've been doing this for a long time. So they understand payments and they understand how it works. The benefit for our European operators, some of the largest operators, around the world, when they're coming to the US, we've already done the heavy lifting on their behalf. So when you think about them, using, Nuvei's services in Europe, using our services in LATAM, and now they're coming to North America, there's no work for them to do. Right, so they can connect to us directly for the acquiring. They can connect to us directly for Misuma. They can connect to us for the connectivity for all the other relevant APMs. So all of our partners in Europe basically get instant access to all the leading payment types in North America by working with Nuvei. That's the first thing. Then the second thing is understanding that because of the way we've developed everything, there's nuances in every country. Right, so what works, in UK, if you look at the high percentage of debit cards that are used versus what's working in Brazil versus what's working in Germany, then you go into Canada and the US. In Canada there's the Interac rails, right, the debit system that we have in Canada. Well, it's the ACH and the real-time payment rails in the US. So understanding that the products are a little bit different. And that's obviously some of the expertise that we have. We've worked in North America for again close to 20 years. So we understand the market in North America. For us, this is just an extension of the service that we offer. And so I think where the European operators have been doing it for a long time, they trust a group like Nuvei to manage their payments and to help them with payments. And then the guys in that are kind of native to the U.S. Certainly are familiar with our services as well. So we don't discriminate, Raz. We work with both.
No, absolutely not. But maybe getting a bit cheeky here, but you guys now, obviously that's a great reason for not, only working with you in the US, but also working with you in Europe, and a lot of, I would assume, operators that most are working with you guys, but definitely work with Nuvei. You guys a leading provider in the space or partner in the space when we talk about this easy bridge and access between US and Europe? Would you say you guys are quite a leader in this, or maybe that's a bit cheeky asking like this, but if you don't ask, you don't get.
Yeah, I think certainly we talked about our presence globally, which is significant in the gaming space. I think especially with some of the latest announcements, we have relationships, Raz, with every major operator in the U.S. today. But also where it's been a little different, and I talked earlier about that crawl, walk, run approach, is we wanted to get this right, and we wanted to kind of make sure that everything was working properly. We still think it's very early in the U.S. gaming market or North American market for that sense. So there's no rush for us coming out of the gate. We have no U.S. gaming projections baked into our forecast that we've talked about publicly. So it's all upside to our business case for us. But certainly given our experience and given our relationships, the Misuma acquisition, everything that we've done setting up, I think we've kind of moved out of that crawl phase. We're now in that walk phase, and certainly getting very excited to start running. So love where we're positioned, and very excited about the future of iGaming in North America.
No, absolutely, that's completely understandable. I think we had a very good conversation. I appreciate, Neil, you sharing your views and talking a bit about Misuma, but also the industry as an overall, and see especially how the payment space sits in certain relations to regulations, player protection and all this. So, and the crypto industry as well, or the crypto part of, and the role it can play in our industry. So, I just want to say thank you for joining me today. This is just been a good conversation, and I'm just very not happy that I didn't manage to get one of my lovely cups over to you so we can make it share, since it is called the Espresso Show. But I'll bring you one when if I don't see you in G3, I'll probably see you at North America show, SBC Summer North America in December. But Neil, again, thanks for joining me. I don't know if you have anything just to add. I'll give you a few more seconds. Maybe that's not enough, but just do share if you have something you want to round off with.
No, I think just really appreciate the time, Raz. Thanks for having me. Thanks for thanks for supporting Nuvei and Misuma. We certainly appreciate it, and I definitely look forward to seeing you soon in person.
Absolutely, likewise. And I mean, you guys are great cultures, and everything was around the culture. You got a great lead and Phil. So yeah, hats off to you guys, and I'm sure we'll be on another show very soon, so I can hear about how you guys been progressing since this one. Yeah, I'm sure there's a couple of more acquisitions in there, maybe, or whatnot. We'll see. Anyway, Neil, I would say, that's it. Thanks for joining.
Perfect. Bye. Thanks.